Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Christmassy episode of The Italian Vegan. Lovely to see all of you today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, look. So what's she saying?
I got a Christmas jumper.
Oh, yeah, I haven't.
Okay.
So good morning.
Welcome to this Christmas episode. Today I want to try something a little bit different. So this is going to be the Christmas one. If you leave your microphone open, let's try to have a conversation on
Yeah, mine's open.
On live as well.
Yeah.
Just in case it gets too noisy, then I'll ask you to mute yourself again.
Luca,
just in case there's anybody that hasn't been here before, I know Peter. Hi, Peter. I know Peter hasn't been in one of these before. Obviously, Peter, this is interactive, so feel free as I'm cooking. Feel free to interrupt me anytime and ask any questions. Yep, what's that?
No, Deborah says good morning from Texas, so I don't know what time it is there.
Good morning.
She likes your hat as well.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Deborah. And as always, I am humbled that you get up so early.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. in Texas to watch this.
Luca, Merry Christmas to you both.
And so I was telling Peter, I think it's new. I don't know if anybody else hasn't been here before. Saying you can interrupt at any time, ask questions either live. I'm not quite sure if my phone is loud enough to hear your voice. Let me actually raise the volume here.
Oh, that's what it is.
Hi,
Luca.
In case I can't hear you, then type it in the chat box and Katerina will read it out to me.
Catherine says she doesn't think that you can hear them. Catherine said that.
Oh.
No?
Don't think you can hear us.
Okay, maybe let me try taking the microphone off. Try again, Catherine. Let's see if I can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear us.
I can hear something now. It's very faint. Let's say try to.
Yeah, that's much better,
volume.
Luca.
Just try it again.
Hear you.
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Yeah,
Merry Christmas, Luca.
It's very faint. It's very faint, unfortunately. So I can hear something, but not enough to have a conversation.
And there's another message from Carol. Merry Christmas to all. I'm leaving my husband in charge today. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So first of all, before I start, how many people are helping us to cook this live with me? I would like to know.
Put that in the chat.
Yeah, put that in the chat. So I'll. It's nice to know.
Just saying in there.
If you are just watching.
Oh, Peter can hear you now. Brilliant.
Okay.
So welcome, Peter.
Welcome, Peter. Okay.
Catherine's watching. As usual, we'll make later. And Maria is cooking live today. Right? Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got Maria. Great. I don't know if Carol's husband is trying to or not, but at least we've got somebody that's trying to cook, and hopefully Peter is as well. He contacted us before to hear about what we're planning for the bottle. Anyway,
Sue says she's watching today. Didn't have any fizzy, and Peter said, "So am I." Hopefully, said I think that means you're cooking. Is that okay, Peter?
Good. Let's get started. First of all. First thing we're going to put some water on for the stock. As you know, the cooking risotto is done slowly with stock. So we're going to get a liter of water on tap and put it in the pan. Okay, so this is my liter of water. And I'll turn it on to warm the water up. Okay, let's quickly go through the ingredients. Today is going to be sorry. Before we even start the cooking, I wanted to thank all of you that donated to Buy One Give One today. And today we
got a message. Sorry, it might be best if we muted ourselves as we can hear background noise. So
okay, sure. So please do then, because we can't hear you anyway. So yeah, please mute yourself and communicate them through the chat, to the chat box, please. So today, with the all of you that donated to buy one give one, we're giving to give shelter to the homeless in South Africa, and these are residential care facilities that provide apart from a bed also a shower and the breakfast the day after for the people that stay there. So we've been able to give 4 nights of shelter for homeless in South Africa, thanks to your donation. So thank you very much, and welcome to the Christmas spirit. At least it's something we make. All we try to do, we give somebody else in another side, in another part of the world, a reason to smile as well. Okay, so ingredients that we'll be using today. Today it's a really delicious dish, but as usual, with as you come to know with my Italian cooking, it's very, very simple. So there are very few ingredients, expertly cooked, I hope. So what we'll need, we need 1 onion. Okay, a medium one is fine, something like about this size or even smaller. We need some vegetable stock. So I've got here some vegetable stock cubes. As we have 1 liter, for those of you that use imperial and not metric, not decimal, 1 liter is about 2 pints of water. So we'll be using 2 stock cubes. There is 1 per pint generally. You use a little bit of black pepper. Then we use some vegan butter. This is the brand I use. Okay. Obviously some olive oil. The usual extra virgin olive oil. And some vegan parmesan that we already grated. Okay, so 100 grams of parmesan. And then the special ingredients will be a bottle of fizzy. So it's fine. Today, actually, I'm using a bottle of Prosecco, but obviously it's more impressive if you go guests and use a bottle of champagne or a bottle of Spumante, which is a equivalent of champagne in Italy. Okay, so I'll show you the bottle. I will take it out of the freezer where I put it into. So that's the other ingredient that we won't need it yet. So I'll put it back in the fridge until it's time to check it out and open it. Okay. So at the moment, if you got your bottle, just put it in the fridge, and I'll tell you when to check it out. Okay, so the first thing I'll do, I'll put the stock cubes in the water. Where's my chocolate? Where's it gone?
I think it might be in the dishwasher.
Take it out. Oh, no, this is it. Okay, just to make it easier for the stock to melt, I'll just chop it in pieces. Okay. And obviously we need the stock to be just below boiling point, because so when we add it to the rice, that it doesn't stop the cooking process as it would if we would have in cold stock. Okay, so I'll add that on the fire, and I'll start with my onion. So let's pop the onion as usual, as you've seen me do plenty of times. I use my usual trick of peeling it back. Okay. And I normally do one incision horizontally and then somewhat vertically. And then I chop. Mind your fingers when you do that. Oops. Ah, it's actually failing me now. I don't have any tail to this onion, so it's actually coming off.
That's your stomach rumbling there.
That is my stomach rumbling. I haven't had breakfast this morning, so I am really looking forward to this this dish. And this is not an ingredient, but also you will need some of these, okay? Because part of the joy you have in this dish is that we use obviously champagne for cooking, but also for drinking. Okay, so have some ready for when we need to drink as well. Okay, this is a bit better because I can now have a sort of tail.
Oh, Catherine says that is a great incentive.
It is, yes. That's why it's kind of like a dish that is nice to prepare when there's a dinner party, because it's quite festive, and it's also as I will show you at the end, it's quite showy, and it always raises a smile, and it earns you a few brownie points with your friends. Yeah. This.
Oh, bless you. Deborah's asking, did I get my father settled in his new place? Thank you, Deborah. Yes, he's all settled and happy. He's on a ground floor flat close to his lady friend. So he's 88 and she's 81. So they can see each other without him having to get a taxi there every day. So it's made things a lot easier. So thank you very much for asking. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now, I'll measure out about 80 grams.
Thank you, Sue. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. 80, so.
Okay. So now time to weigh a few things. So I'll measure out a little bit of butter. We want about 80 grams for this dish. Let's double that. Okay. That will do. Okay. And then we'll weigh a rice as well. This is enough for 4 people. So I'm going to use risotto Carnaroli. You can either use this one or you can use Arborio, or it's more difficult to find here, but it's popular in Italy. There's another rice type called Vallone Nano. But this is the one I use. I prefer this to the Arborio rice. This is the kind of like what the rice grain looks like. It's very short, stubby. It's very nice. I prefer this to the Arborio rice because it keeps a bit more al dente. They're both very nice. The Arborio rice will be more generally, it's more creamy, and the Carnaroli tends to overcook quite easily, where the Carnaroli rice stays more al dente.
Catherine's asked if Francesco's back from uni. Thank you, Catherine. He came back last Thursday, still in bed. What time is it? Yeah, nearly 12:30. He's still in bed.
Yeah. If you can notice here, we got 3 glasses.
So hopefully he'll be up. We
got one for him. I think the smell of cooking will probably get him up. This is what will be his breakfast.
He will appear at the end of the cooking. That's what Catherine says. Yes, it will be timed very well.
Yeah. Okay, so I've measured out 400 grams of rice. And let's start with the cooking then. Where are we? So, first of all, we'll use some olive oil. I'll be very disciplined today. And I'll measure everything out, okay? So I use 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay. And I'll use half of my butter on here as well. And I'll have it on a low to medium heat. I will just wait for the butter to melt. And in the meantime, I will make sure that my stock is warming up and dissolving as well. And as the stock is what is going really to give the flavor, the salt to the rice, you want to make sure we've got the right amount of salt. So if you add, for example, if you add too much water, then obviously the salt will dissolve over a larger amount of water, and it won't transfer to the rice while you're cooking. So this is fine. I'm happy with that, and just gonna use another pinch of salt when I add my onions.
And we're having this Christmas Eve, aren't we? You're going to cook that for us because we celebrate Christmas Eve, so we're looking forward to having it again.
Exactly, as it's traditional in Italy to have a big dinner on Christmas Eve. That's when we celebrate mainly our Christmas more than Christmas Day, and we tend to have a big dinner starting around 8, 8:30 in the evening. And it's I don't even tell you how many courses there are, because it seems that they never end. Pretty much, food keeps coming and coming and coming. You got big tables generally of between 10 and 20 people at the table, so it's a big deal. And then we exchange presents, and for those that are religious, actually they go to mass at midnight. And in the village where my dad grew up, there's also this tradition of doing like a church crawl midnight.
Yeah.
A church crawl. So we go and visit pretty much not just the one church at midnight, but we do like visit at least 5 or 6 different churches, because even that the masses do go on quite a while. So we spend like 10 minutes in each church, give our offerings and move on to the next one and meet different people. And as you can imagine, in the village everybody knows everybody, so it's a nice way of meeting all the people that you know, and wish them a Merry Christmas. Okay.
The food is like that at the weddings as well, isn't it? All those courses.
But the weddings are something else. Yeah. The weddings is like when you start asking, please don't give me any more food. I can't cope with it anymore. But it's almost like, especially for the family of the bride, it's they have to prove that they have enough for everybody. So it's almost like food is not just to feed everybody, but it is to show that you have enough money to give your daughter away.
Deborah loves listening to your stories.
Things are.
Catherine says, so you're glad you have a son, definitely.
Yes. But things have changed now. But what I'm talking about is more like the tradition, which are followed more in villages than they are in the towns. And modern weddings are very different from the village wedding that I was describing, where you sit down, at lunch at 1 o'clock, and you don't get up till like about 8 or 9 in the evening, where honestly you can't see any more food. You don't really want to.
You can't get up off your seat, right?
No, exactly. Exactly. But modern weddings are slightly different, where they're generally in a after the church bit is finished and you go to the reception. It's mainly in a garden, and instead of sit down for a long lunch, there are different kiosks where they do different things. So you might go to one and have I don't know, the parmesan and melon and things like that. Another one where there are all different cheeses. Another one where you have the fried vegetables and so on. And so you help yourself to whatever you like, and then go sit down at the table. And then they have what they call a short wedding, actually sit down dinner, where you only have about 4 or 5 courses, and that is short. Okay. And then again, for the desserts, there are like big tables with all sorts of desserts, and you go and again and help yourself with that. So there is a lot more mingling. There's not as much sitting down is possibly for about an hour and a half, more than that. And the rest of the time you're up and mingling and talking to different people, which is much nicer.
Catherine says the French do the same, and they eat so much as well.
Yeah.
I remember when I first come to your cousin's wedding, we had 7 fish starters, and then we had sorbet to clean our mouth, and then we started on 7 meat dishes, and then there was the afters.
That was the main course.
Oh, the main courses. Oh, right.
Wasn't the afters.
Oh dear, I just couldn't cope.
Okay, as usual, when you are doing the onions, just to speed up the process a little bit, we just put a pinch of salt. Always use, I mean, if you can, always use sea salt. It's much nicer than the refined salt. I don't know if you can see here as well. We tend to use in Italy the unmilled salt. You can see the big grain, the big crystals, salt crystals, rather than something that's been milled, something like this, and the normal sea salt that you buy in the supermarket. Okay, so. Okay, so when the onions are, we let them normally fry for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. When they are, you can see them now. The color is a bit richer than usual, because obviously we're using not just the olive oil, but butter as well. Okay, you can see when they are now becoming almost like transparent, and they're changing color. So we just let it go for another 30 seconds, and then we'll add the rice to that as well.
Nice smell.
Lovely. And I think this is a record for me. This is probably the 3rd time that I'm cooking without garlic. Okay. So today there's no garlic in this dish. Okay, so I'm ready now to add the rice. And again, we put the rice in, we let it absorb all the the oil and the butter, and we let it toast in the pan like this for a couple of minutes before we start adding the other ingredients. Now, ideally, if you have a bottle of fizzy open, we could add a glass of this, or if you have a bottle of white wine, we can add a drop of that. I think we got some in the fridge, so.
But they don't want to use the bottle that they've got closed, do they?
No. We want to keep the bottle they're using for later closed, because of the kind of like surprise effect that we're going to have at the end. So we also add a little bit of pepper, not too much. And with the risotto, it's almost like a dish cooked with love, because you have to
to continuously stir it with a wooden spoon. Especially if you are, I mean, this is this type of rice cooks in about 18 to 20 minutes. But if you're using, for example, wholemeal rice, then it's almost like more like 40, 45. So, you know, a risotto made with wholemeal rice is really a labor of love. Okay, just a second.
Got a message. Hilary said, I missed what is in the pan in the back of the cooker.
It's a stock, vegetable stock, Hilary. So we just, at the moment, what we've done, we just warmed up some olive oil with butter, about 40, 50 grams of butter, and 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 onion. And once the onion was pretty much cooked, then we added the rice. And the moment we are toasting the rice, we haven't added any other ingredients. In that pan at the back, there's just a liter of water. Obviously, it's heating up at the moment, is almost a boiling point. And there are 2 stock cubes. So we created basically a liter of vegetable stock. Okay, so I'll just add a drop of wine. Doesn't matter.
Peter wants to know what you do with the rest of the butter.
We need it for later, Peter. Maybe at the end of cooking. So we just let the alcohol evaporate for a minute. And I have this ready to start adding this stock. So I'll just let it. I can smell already the wine. It's a process sometimes. I mean, you can do this generally whenever you're cooking a sauce or not. It just adds a little bit more flavor to the dish if you do. But if you don't have half a glass of wine that you need to put in, don't worry. It's not a necessary step. You can pass that one. Okay, let's make sure that my stock is all like the stock cubes are all melted. We can start adding stock now. We just have a couple of.
Catherine said it's a good excuse to open another bottle.
Yeah.
And
maybe not so much at lunchtime.
Peace nothing. Can I use Peroni?
I don't know, Peter. As I said, we all up for experimenting, but I don't think. I mean, this is not for this dish. Try another time, maybe. This is for you know. Really, it's very simple, and it just to enhance the flavor of the sparkling wine, really. So we keep this recipe as simple as we can, and generally this is the recipe for the base. It's a base recipe for a risotto. Okay, so it's not complicated at all. It's just the little twist at the end that makes it showy and kind of like ready for a dinner party. It's so very tasty. I mean, I could eat that on its own, just with this and with the cheese at the end. And when I was very young, in junior school, I didn't know at the time, but I had a problem with my stomach. And so I wouldn't eat any sauce whatsoever.
Just stop you there, just in case they're cooking.
Sorry?
Here he's hinting, what wine did you use? Sorry to interrupt, just in case she's.
Hilary, sorry. Ideally, you would use like sparkling wine, but I just used half a glass of white wine, whatever I had in the fridge. Doesn't really matter. This is Chenin Blanc, but it doesn't really matter at this stage because we just use the tip. Like not even half a glass of wine, so it will disappear from the from the flavor at the end.
We're talking about your story.
Yeah, what was I talking about?
About when you were young.
When I was young, I didn't know that, but when I was in junior school, my mum used to despair because I wouldn't eat hardly anything. I wouldn't eat any sauces whatsoever. So I would eat pasta or rice with butter and cheese, and that was it. And I wouldn't eat meat. I wouldn't eat hardly anything. In the end, when I was 10, I was taken to hospital with my appendix very inflamed, and I had to have an emergency operation. And after they'd taken my appendix out, luckily they got there just in time. It was just on the verge of becoming peritonitis, which would have been very, very dangerous. But after that operation, I suddenly started developing a taste for all the things I've never eaten before. So it obviously was, something related to my, to the digestive system, and things with elaborate sauces used to aggravate it. So that's why I didn't want to eat any of it. Yeah, since then I haven't looked back, and I've eaten all the lovely things that I wouldn't touch before.
Let's look at this rice.
You can see the risotto gently cooking. I just raised the temperature a little bit.
Can I show the flame? Are you able to? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to just have it on a low flame. You just, as long as the rice is boiling, and you can see it doesn't need to be on a high flame.
Without it drying out.
You just want to make sure that all the, as you stirring, when the liquid has absorbed, and you add some more. And pretty much you carry on until until the rice is cooked, and by the time he has absorbed all the stock, the rice will be cooked. Still a little bit al dente. Another question maybe that some people ask me sometimes is that when do you know when is the rice cooked or not? Is when you bite into it and it's still got a little bit of a bite, but it doesn't have any chalkiness inside when you bite into, bite a rice thingy in half, and that means that it's cooked, even if it's a little bit hard. This is how we normally like it in Italy. The same thing with pasta as well. Okay, so al dente doesn't mean it needs to be hard. It just means that it's still got some bite to it, and it's not completely soft.
Peter, what's Peter saying? I do not think I have chopped my onion fine enough.
It doesn't matter, Peter. As long as you don't have great big chunks, it's fine. It's fine. The onions are part of the fun. You see that the rice is still hard. You're free to taste it every now and again. An apology if I haven't today. I haven't really had the time to think of a dessert as well. We've been really pushed these past few weeks, so I have I always make sure that I can run this on a Saturday, because it's a good time for me to connect with all of you and also to relax a little bit. It's nice when I'm cooking. Obviously, I can't do anything else. I need to concentrate on this, and it's also for me. It's time to myself. This hour and a half that we're doing this, it's really lovely for me too. So I thank you all for keep coming every week, because it makes it pushes me also to take time for myself.
And Catherine's asking, are you taking a break over Christmas?
That would be nice. I don't know. That's the question, because we at the moment we've been just like reacting to things that keep happening more than planning to be busy. So it would be nice. It would be nice if we can. Yes.
Deborah says she likes your hat and Hillary's. We can't see Hillary's, but I'm sure it's really lovely. Good to get into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah. And I don't know if Peter is wearing his famous Christmas jumper.
He won the competition, didn't he, when we had our City Circle event, our networking event.
Yeah.
Did a little twirl.
Yeah, we had a networking event last week, and Peter was there, and also Carol was there, and Peter won the competition for the best Christmas attire with his lovely Christmas jumper.
And Christmas has, Catherine's got a Christmas jumper as well. So she's wearing that. That's great.
Give them a spotlight. If you do that, click on their name and just put spotlight video. So we can all see. Who's that? Catherine. Let's have a look. Oh, there we are. Look at that.
With a Christmas pudding. That's great.
So who else are they?
Hillary, I think it was.
Hillary. It's got my video. Let's have a look at Hillary.
Oh my
fantastic.
God.
I like that. It's almost like a big version of my hat. Okay, anybody else?
Peter, have you got your jumper on or
let's have a look at Peter.
We'll have a look at you anyway.
Wow,
Hey!
this is a different one. Well done, Peter. Excellent. Oh, excellent. Okay, let's go back to. If anybody else wants a spotlight, let us know.
We've got 3 messages now. Let's have a look. Deborah says, cute, Catherine, and Sue, brilliant. And Carol, what heat are you using?
It's a very medium to low.
Do you want to show them again?
Yeah, I just going to have a bit of thing because of getting dry. Getting heavy now. Can you see that?
Can you see? Very low.
Yeah, it's quite low. It's quite low. But the point is, I mean, I don't know. It depends on your cooker and how big the ring is that you're using, and how big the pan is as well.
Oh.
But as long as the water in the rice is gently boiling, this is fine. Okay.
Deborah likes Peter's apron.
So you don't need to have. If you put the heat on too high a flame, then you run the risk of burning the rice. Okay. So we don't really need to do that. We're almost there. We are almost there.
I'm getting hungry as well.
I know.
And I've had breakfast.
Let me see how far we are with the rice.
I should have on Christmas pajamas. That's what Deborah. That's very true. Maybe next year.
Another 2 or 3 minutes. And I should be ready. It's lovely. Now I'm starting to get hungry now. Okay, as you can see, we use almost all the stock. I just got a little bit left. Okay, so we finish now the last little bit of stock. Obviously, if you get to this point where you're using all your, there's the young man just emerging from his bedroom.
1 o'clock.
as we said, Francesco, we discussed before, and we all voted, and we said that you would appear when the food was about to be served. And see, I think we were right.
Good morning or good afternoon.
So what I was saying is that if you get to this point and you absorb all the liquid, and the rice is still a little bit hard, too hard for your liking, then just add a little bit of hot water from the kettle.
Catherine says it must have been the swell that woke you up, Francesco.
Yeah. Okay, so add a little bit of pepper, not too much. You don't want to make it too peppery.
I think Peter is spotlighted. Oh, that's what Deborah
Oh.
says, I see. Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me just do that. No, we are spotlighted.
We are spotlighted. Oh,
Yep. So we should be.
yeah. Chat.
We should be. This is what is showing on our phone.
Phone, yeah. Can you see us, Deborah? I can't make your picture big.
Ah.
Oh, what's wrong?
Let's try again. Let's try cancelling the spotlight and do it again. Spotlight video. Yeah, cancel.
Yeah. Can you, let's see what she's doing now. Going to speaker view, that's what Catherine says. Can you see us now? We've
I think Deborah, it's probably, if you can do it from your side, you can say, you can put it on speaker view, and you should be able to see.
Oh,
us.
I can now.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant. Don't want to miss the important bit, yeah.
Okay, now I need to taste and see if we are happy with the rice. Yeah, this is exactly what I was trying to get. The rice is still a little bit hard, still a little bit al dente, but it doesn't have that chalkiness inside anymore. So we are getting there. And the last touch now, we have the remaining butter. So we'll let it melt as well, because it's still now. In a second, I will turn the heat off on this right now, but obviously the temperature is still there, so the rice will still keep cooking for another minute while we keep it on the hob. Okay. So as we have it on there, add a little bit, say about half the cheese. And again, we keep stirring. Smell now is almost overwhelming. The aroma. Add a little bit more cheese. Okay, now it's time to get your bottle out of the fridge and open it. Okay, let's go and get it.
Oh, Peter's saying he still has a lot of liquid in the pan.
Carry on going, Peter.
Yeah, keep going, Peter.
Keep the flame on.
Yeah, keep the flame on.
Keep the flame on. Okay, Peter. So yeah, keep the flame on until all the liquid pretty much has absorbed. Okay, but also when you add the butter and cheese, it will absorb a lot, some of the liquid too. Yeah. The secret is, Peter, is not to add too much liquid to the rice as you're cooking, but just add it on as and when the liquid has been absorbed. So that's the secret of cooking risotto. Okay, so give Peter time to finish absorbing his thing. In the meantime, I'll open the bottle. Not to get the thing, Katrina, as well. The
Party hat.
and the video as well. Your phone. Video.
Use my phone.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just moving away from the minute.
Okay, let's open the bottle. Okay. The wine is open.
Just 1 minute, Walker.
Okay. What you do now, especially if you have a dinner party, you transfer the rice to a bowl like this, to a serving bowl. And shall we, Katrina, would you free that part here so we can put in there?
Yeah. Hold on a minute.
I'll put it here so it's easy to see.
Yes.
Okay. We make some room in the middle for the bottle, which we have, as I discussed before, we previously washed and cleaned. Voila. Okay, so you can bring it to the table like this, especially if it's a bigger table where you have more people, you know, maybe 7 or 8 people around the table. And then you do your magic trick. And there you are. So you let the wine, as you can see, the wine come out of the bottle until you got, you know, about the equivalent of a couple of glasses. Okay, so it's quite. See where can you see?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're happy that you had enough wine come out of the bottle, you then take the wine out, and if you angle it a little bit, then it will stop. It will stop coming out in a second. So the magic trick was just to add a pinch of sugar, and that's all you got to do. And then let's have a look. I have a little bit more wine to that. So a couple of glasses is what you need. And then you stir it again. And this is one dish where you don't want all the alcohol to evaporate. You really want to smell it. Just add a little bit more. And we then add the remaining parmesan. I said 100 grams, this for 400 grams of rice. So adjust it accordingly. If you're only cooking for 2 people, then 200 grams of rice and 50 grams of parmesan. Okay. And okay, once it's all mixed, it's now ready to be served. Put the sugar away, and
Shall I stop videoing?
yes, you can. And also together with serving the dishes,
3 messages. Hold on a minute.
You can serve.
Peter says, I still have a lot. What about the cheese? Okay, we sorted that one. Deborah, did you add salt to the bottle?
Sugar.
Catherine, does it cool the risotto too much when you put it? Obviously, when you're putting the alcohol in.
No, not too much, because we're not using a large amount of wine. Only a couple of glasses. It will cool it. It will cool it slightly, but it's very hot anyway. So let's start serving. You can see it's very rich, and this is how I like my risotto anyway. So it's not stodgy. It's very almost quite is in between being solid and liquid.
Fancy says very sorry. Fancy says. I mean, Deborah says very fancy.
It is very fancy. It's not something that we do every day, but I think it's quite nice when you have guests to impress them. And it's also a very simple dish to cook. So there is not much that can go wrong with this, and it's very delicate. Very nice flavor.
I was just going to take a photograph. Sure. A great party piece, Hilary says. It really is.
There we are.
That's how I was wooed by Luca, and it worked.
You remember with all your friends? Actually, she was like using me for slave labor. So she invited her friends, and then she said, "Oh, look, I will cook," without asking me first. I said, "I don't mind. I don't mind."
It's so good.
Voila. Okay, Francesco.
To take a photograph.
Now it's time. It's time for the tasting. Oh, look at that.
Right.
And the
Oh, we've got another message. Maria, this is delicious. Thank you. Oh, brilliant. Okay.
okay, and also
You need to fit in. You need to squeeze in.
yeah, put that in there.
Yep. Are we going
Come
to
along.
fit in? You need to stand there. You need to come in a bit, and I'll go behind you. Come in a bit.
Okay, are we
Yeah,
in?
lovely. We're in. Okay. Tasting time.
And there's your glass as well.
Right, here we go.
Okay, so
You go first then.
mm,
Nice, eh?
so nice, so simple, but so. What do you think?
And that is nice.
As you can see, we feed him well. But every time you see him, he's a little bit taller, and also
Cheers.
still a nice
Is that yours thing,
cheese
Francesca?
glass.
Yeah.
Let's have a nice
Cheers and happy
Cheers to
Christmas,
everybody.
everybody.
So,
Come in.
Merry Christmas to everyone. Come on.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think that's Happy Christmas,
So,
everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope you can
After my
try this. This is one of the cases where you see, do try this at home, and please be careful with how much sugar you put into the bottle, because I made that mistake before. I put too much, and then I couldn't stop the wine coming out. It became a little bit of a soup rather than a risotto. But as you know, if you get a little bit too much coming out, just take it out and angle it, or have a glass at hand and just put it in the glass instead.
Okay, we've got some messages. Catherine says, cheers to all. Happy Christmas. Hilary, thank you. The same to you. How wonderful. Merry Christmas from Deborah. And Sue says, cheers, everyone. Have a lovely time.
Thank you very much. And thank you again for your contributions. And it's been like a really lovely sharing all this with you, especially today as we, the week before Christmas. And it'd be really lovely to share the festive dish with you. Okay, so unless there are any
I
other.
just hope that Peter's has turned out okay. Just want to know that.
Yeah,
really.
Peter, come on, show us your dish. Can you?
Catherine wants to know when you're back.
It's possibly the next week is going to be Christmas, isn't it? Yeah. So not next week, but the week after. The week after we should be on. As long as it's not New Year's Day, but we should be on the week after.
Maybe the 3rd. The 4th is a Monday. That's a bank holiday.
So the second
want to do
will be
the
the second.
week
The second will be.
The second will be on.
Okay, so we will see you on the second if it's a Saturday. I can't remember. I don't have the calendar in front of me.
Yes, it is.
See the dish.
It'll be lovely. So most of you will still be maybe on the holiday, maybe still off work, and it'd be lovely to see you all again.
Okay, so Deborah says see you then, and Hillary's saying see you then as well. Catch up then. Yes, see you then, Catherine as well. Still haven't heard from Peter.
Peter, let's have a look at Peter.
Oh,
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
we can't hear you. We can vaguely hear you, but he says happy Xmas all. Love the recipe. Maria says yes, see you then. So happy Christmas to
Okay,
everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And Happy New Year.
And see you again in the new year.
Bye.
Bye.